What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Daily here from the Codec, and welcome to episode 13 of the Codec with our interview with Rika Muranaka. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. How are you doing this morning, Rika?
I'm doing good. I think you're the first person actually pronounce my name right.
All right.
Well, that is a rare occurrence here for me, so I'm gonna take that one. As always, joined by my two amazing co-hosts, Corrupt Ronan.
Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Codec. Rika, I'd like to thank you personally for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here and talking to you as well.
Thank you.
And Yon, yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to our interview with Rika Muranaka. Thank you very much for joining us. We love the work that you do for Metal Gear, and a lot of people are excited to hear from you. So, yeah, let's dive right into it.
Awesome. Y'all,
Thank you.
go ahead and start off our questioning for this episode.
Sure. We always like to start out with this question. Could you tell us a bit about yourself? Who is Rika Muranaka, and how did you get started with music? What inspired you to go into this career?
Okay. Yes. My name is Rika Muranaka, and I'm a composer. As you know, everybody from Metal Gear Solid series one, two,
Mm-hmm.
three, four,
Mm-hmm.
and Silent Hill, Castlevania Symphony, and I also actually wrote music for I don't know if it was out in America, but some of the anime cartoon that I did in Japan. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Mosquito. It was really popular
I think I
back
may
in
have
the
heard of that.
days. Yeah, it's really popular, and the author was really popular. I can't remember his name, but he's really, really popular manga,
Mm-hmm.
writer. And this is before Comic Con and manga, became so huge,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and everybody, it's like, wow, everybody's talking about manga, but 20 years ago, nobody's talking about manga.
Right. Right.
So I did a lot of work for industry besides video game. Everybody think I'm a video game composer. That's it. But before the video game career, I had like another decade of career of recording
Mm-hmm.
artist. I re-released album, about four of them in Japan with a major record company,
Mm-hmm.
and I was writing jingles and I was on the film, TV. I actually performed a lot back in the days. I That's how I started out, as a playing jazz piano. I was a jazz pianist.
Mm-hmm.
I started my career when I was 16, 17 years old in high school.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so everybody thinks, oh, she's a video game music composer, but no, I had a way more career than just writing music for a video game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I pretty much did everything. People can't. I mean, whatever you hear, like let's say if you go to karaoke, you see all the karaoke track that you had to, you sing along with whatever your favorite karaoke. Back in the day, I made those karaoke tracks when
Okay.
they set it out. Then also the roll, whatever. Every time you buy like a Casio keyboard or Roland or other instruments like a synthesizer, I would do the demo. You push the button. This is how the synthesizer sound like, and
Okay.
Mm.
that's what I did. And also the Casio, I actually program every one of those the beats, like waltz, rock beats, and jazz swing to whatever. Then I will make a different types of
Mm-hmm.
beats, and I'll do the film like a drum. Da, 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 da. I make every time different type of fills, and I program every one of those keyboards programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
Very
Oh,
diverse
nice.
musical career there. And
Absolutely.
how did you eventually come to work for Metal Gear? Like what caught Hideo Kojima's attention and made him say, "Okay, I need some music from you."
Okay, the Metal Gear. Before the Metal Gear, I actually wrote Castlevania Symphony.
Oh right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, and also, what is it? Silent Hill.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I work with
Okay.
because the Castlevania Symphony. That's the a song. That's the video game. The Konami want to push it outside of Japan. I think that was the first one. They were gonna go international with the video game, and they
Mm-hmm.
really needed music other than Japanese, pop or music.
Right.
So I actually auditioned or for the Konami. Um, what happened is I went to the studio, my friend's studio. Then I saw the ads in the keyboard magazine, and my friend's like, "Oh, I know you're interested in this company because you're such a geek, and you wanted to do something with video game." And he pulled up and he says, "Hey, maybe you should apply this company because they're looking for someone to do the music."
Hmm.
There was little ads in the keyboard magazine. So I said, okay, that's a Konami, okay, because they're getting ready to do PlayStation. This is before PlayStation even, what
Right.
people are talking about. This is
Right.
before like 1997,
Yeah. Yeah.
and before that, there's a Sega. Remember? I don't know. I guess you guys are too young to understand. There's a before PlayStation, there was a Sega and the Panasonic,
We know about
Panasonic
those. Yeah.
Like Sega Saturn and stuff
console.
like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They bombed. Okay, they could they had a couple years, pretty good
Yeah.
years, but they were, I think, was too ahead of a time.
Hmm.
Trying to do the video
Right.
game, and then Panasonic and Sega pulled out. But Sega became a really really good software company. So I just knew a lot about the video game company because I was already talking to Sega person, the guy who works at the Sega, and I became really good friend, and he liked my music, and he wanted to do interactive CD artist CD, and I talked to the record company. The record company didn't understand what is interactive, music or whatever.
Mhm.
They
Right.
had no idea. No, this is like I said, 1992. Okay, I'm talking 1992. Okay, and I'm already talking to Sega guy about doing the interactive multimedia artist
Hmm.
CD-ROM,
Right.
and record companies like, what the hell is that? They had no idea. Oh, nobody's gonna buy that. Oh, that's not future. They
Right.
they're so close-minded. So I decided, you know what, I need to go someplace, like a video game, so I could put my music. And that's when I saw the advertising in Konami and the Keyboard magazine,
Hmm.
and also like Nikkei and Asahi and the huge, like just a major financial newspaper. And I don't know why they even put the advertising in a financial newspaper because when you think about it, that's how geeky they are. It's IT company. They don't really put in the advertisement in regular newspaper, the sports magazine, sports sections or sports newspaper or something like
Right.
that. No, they decide they're gonna put the advertisement in like a Financial Times, Wall Street Time, Wall Street Journal type of newspaper. But I actually thought that was really interesting, and I applied, and they called me right away, and the president of the music publishing company, um, interviewed me, and within 45 minutes, I got hired.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Right on the spot. It's like, oh, I need you so much because at that time I was because not many people back then spoke English. I was
Okay.
Oh,
completely
okay.
bilingual at the same time. I grew up here, half of my life here,
Oh wow.
Right.
and I know about the culture here, the what
Hmm.
American people like as far as the music goes, and what's the trendy
Hmm.
here and all that. And they need to understand like they cannot put the music, Japanese music, into video game. Maybe right now I think it's really interesting because so many people are into manga and anime and comic cons like huge. So I think it would be kind of cool if you put the Japanese music at the end.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure, but back then, 20 some years ago, everybody's like, "Oh no, no, no! You can't put the Japanese music, and people are gonna freak out." So I convinced them, and I at that time I had a record deal with a major record company as a foreign artist, not the domestic foreign artist. So I was already making the pop, R&B, gospel, rap music then.
Hmm.
So they really like my music. So it's like and he's like, "You're hired," and
Hmm.
so that was within the 45 minutes.
Right.
So that was it, and at that time I didn't really see Hideo or nobody from the company,
Hmm.
and the guy's like, well, you're hired, so let's just work. And he didn't call me, and nobody called me for 1 month, 2 months, and I figured, me being American, I figured, well, when you say let's work, I'm thinking like next week or within a month, right?
Right.
Right.
this is a big corporation. They take time and this and that, whatever. And that's the thing about musician. We think like a musician, and when you start working with a big corporation, they have a different time zone.
Hmm. Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they had to get everything. Signature like a sign. Everybody had to
Right.
approve and everything. So it took a while. I didn't get a call from like I'll say about 3 months or 4 months, and they had the big Tokyo Comic Con, like a comic market or video game. It's just like E3 type of video game conventions in
Mhm.
Tokyo. So guys, like here, I have a ticket for you. Why don't you go and take a look at what we do? Then you can research and what we do. Then I wanted to go to the convention and then check out the other companies' music or game, and then let's get together. And so I went to the convention and I went to every one of those booths, and it was huge convention, and I didn't realize.
Same.
Hey, Rika, we lost your audio, so you can go ahead and pick up where
Yeah.
where you left off.
Yeah,
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
okay. Okay.
you're good.
Okay, so I went to the Tokyo convention, and it was huge, and just like E3, like this is like I want to say 1995,
Hmm.
Mhm.
96.
Wow.
Sure.
So not many people know about video game. They only think about video games like a Mario
Like a
Brothers, like
toy.
Right, right.
Right.
like a really, really simple video game. You know what I mean? A Pac-Man,
All
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
MIDI music, right?
a
Tetris.
Space Invader, like a no music involved.
Hmm.
yeah,
Just like a one tone, single tone. Nothing real special. So then when I saw the graphic and RPG and all those video game, I was like blown away. Like wow, this is going to be like a Hollywood. This is going to
Right.
be a future for the kids and for everybody. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I saw the future then.
Hmm.
I really really saw the future of the video game industry then. So
yeah.
I went back and talked to the guys, and then he actually introduced me to Hideo and I think Muraoka-san.
Hmm.
He's a sound designer and a sound. He's also a composer, the
Mhm.
first one, and I met Hideo before the PlayStation was even built.
Hmm.
They were like, okay, I really, really, need your help because this is our first time we're making PlayStation, and we really don't know, I mean, what's gonna be, because we
Right.
have no idea. This is gonna be the first PlayStation game we ever gonna build, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So he did talk me about the Metal Gear that he's creating, which I never saw any of the script or drawing or any of anything, not even a figure, nothing.
Wow.
They said they're working on it, and he said I'm working on it, writing the script every day. So I'm like okay, and but he told me it's like well. I need your help writing the music, and because we are making, Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation, and I think if we do it right, I think it's just gonna be really really good
Hmm.
video game for the world. And he had no idea then. He just thought he was just gonna make, PlayStation version. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Nobody knew. We were just like sitting at the, meeting room, is thinking it's like, okay, you guys gonna do the PlayStation? Okay, I mean, I was just like totally clueless.
yeah.
I had no idea the Metal Gear is gonna be blown up like this,
Okay.
and I don't think Hideo had the idea either, and nobody did actually tell the truth.
Well, that's very cool to see that you guys, can walk into a game show, like expo, and then kind of see what the future is going to be like. But we have another
Right.
question, Ronan. It is your question, buddy.
Absolutely. So I know you've talked a little bit about how you composed the music for Castlevania and Silent Hill. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in working on and composing music for those games as well?
Like I said, I applied for the composing job, and
Mhm.
Hideo wasn't ready. So Hideo was like, "Why don't you work for my other friend who's developing another game, and
Okay.
maybe you could do one or two different
Mhm.
types of game, and then
So,
I'll
so
be ready for that." That's how I started out with the Castlevania because
Yeah.
Hideo wasn't ready. So Hideo was like, yeah, until I'm ready, why don't you work for other departments? So that's how I got hooked up with
Okay.
Castlevania and Silent Hill.
I see.
So you got
Okay,
some
interesting.
experience beforehand before moving
Right.
into Metal Gear. So
Right.
I guess that was kind of a good
I
experience.
think that's
That's pretty
cool.
cool.
I think that's
Yeah,
really
that's pretty
cool.
cool.
Like Metal Gear's not ready yet. Go work on these other two major
Right.
franchises,
And come back later.
right?
Yeah. It
um,
took him about like more than a year, I think, and for me to really do music. So we hung out, we were, and we kept in touch. And he's like, "When I'm ready, I'm gonna call you." So that's what happened.
Oh
You
Okay,
know.
wow, that's
cool.
pretty cool. That's really
Young, your next question.
Sure. Now, just to clarify, you worked from Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4, but you did not work on Peace Walker, right? I think that's something that a lot of people may or may not know.
Uh, Peace Walker. No, I don't
Mm.
think I work on that one.
And
Yeah.
what about Portable Ops?
No, no, no. Actually, I work on all the stuff. All the stuff. I had to look at my IMDb because what they do is like they modify. They use my music and they
Right.
modify.
Okay.
And so even though I don't work on like a whole getting
Hmm.
involved from the beginning,
Hmm.
they use my music.
Right.
And
There were kind of still influences, the tracks.
right,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
that's very cool. Now
And
you're best known for like MGS1's The Best Is Yet to Come, MGS2's Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday, MGS3's Snake Eater, and Don't Be Afraid. But I think a lot of people may not realize just how big of a role you might have played in some of the compositions for the Metal Gear series. So could you give us a rundown of sort of all the tracks that you might have worked on and what kind of role you played in them, apart from the ones that people pretty much already know you for?
yeah, most people probably only know me as a composer. Oh, she's the one writing music for ending themes or
Mm-hmm.
opening themes or something like that. Just a one particular
Mm-hmm.
song. But for me, like I said, when I got together with the Konami and the Hideo, they were the really small company. It wasn't really a small company, but it was a small company. Then I think the Hideo only had 20 people working
Mm-hmm.
for the Metal Gear,
Oh wow.
opposing to right now like a 300 over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was just like real small, a very like a family, get together at this, company. We talk, sit
Mm-hmm.
down, have a coffee, and talk. And
Mm-hmm.
that was how we started out. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more really creative type of work. And what they want to do is like hire me as a production, like outsource production company. And I'll get the budget from Konami, and I hire everybody from Harry Gregson Williams to, I'll put an input like, oh, maybe we should use this, we should get this singer, we should
Mm-hmm.
get Harry, we should get this orchestra. I play the role as a, producer and
Okay.
putting the budget together and make sure everything, the production's on time and make sure I meet the deadline. And, I
Mm-hmm.
hire engineer to orchestra, musicians, singers, and I had to get involved with, negotiating and do the contract and
Yeah.
Okay.
licensing. I do more than just a composing job. I'm like 99% of my work is the business,
Yeah.
dealing with other
Okay.
people, getting, yeah,
So you do a lot behind the scenes, it seems, for a lot of these
right.
compositions. Oh, I see. And were
Or
you influential in any of the compositions that are background music rather than vocals? You
I
know.
do everything, but like I say, Harry Gregson Williams, I was like a person to tell him because he had no idea because he's so used to working with the videos, the
Right.
film,
Right.
and you just do cue, like 2 minutes cue here, 2 minutes cue there, whatever. So we didn't know, I didn't know either, so we just kind of had to,
Okay.
figure it out
Sure.
because
Cool.
Hideo wanted us to write music just telling us, like I said, that time we had no idea, no script, no drawing, no nothing. He
Mhm.
did tell us that this particular game is I don't know. I just want to know something. Um. So anyway, where was I?
You were saying that it was trying to. You didn't have any pictures or artwork or
Oh
anything.
no, no, we didn't. Yeah, so I was the one to interpret and
Okay.
produce. Tell Harry, okay, we're going to do 2 minutes cue of action one. He did tell me, okay, I need action five different action scene,
Hmm.
the music.
Mhm.
So he's just like action one, two, three, four, five, sneaking, one,
Hmm.
two, three, four,
Right. Right.
five,
Right.
Right. So
ambient,
cool.
music for one, two, three, four, five. So
Mhm.
I would have to kind of figure it out. Okay, I need I need one action. okay, I'll break it down to 2 minutes, to 30 second, 30 second. I have like four different parts, and so I'll tell Harry, this is the tempo I want, and then from 30 second, I want an introduction like this way. Then I mean, I will
Oh, okay.
actually map it up the music, and this is the kind of idea I want, and I'll tell him, and this is kind of track that I want, you know.
Wow.
Uh,
Mhm.
so that's kind of everything that you hear is what I
Right.
gather from Hideo's conversation,
Okay.
and I'll put it together, and I'll tell Harry to um, compose.
So your
So it's
influence is just
most
all throughout the whole
yes, yeah,
series. That's cool.
Very
That's very
nice.
yeah,
cool.
Very nice.
I think the fans will definitely agree that those kind of the background music and like the alert music and that kind of stuff really pushes the game, like especially Metal Gear 1. There's just nothing like that, that sneaking music where you haven't been caught yet. It's that dun dun.
Yeah, yeah. And then out of nowhere, just
Yeah.
bam, just blast you with.
It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
great. So,
Yeah.
Ronan, what is your next question for Rika?
Absolutely. So, a lot of your games that you've worked on, they have, very different themes and directions. For example, going from Metal Gear Solid 1 to, let's say, Silent Hill, for example. So my question is, was it easy for you to get into the different mindsets or perhaps thinking in terms of, the direction for music in, let's say, Metal Gear as opposed to Silent Hill?
like I remind you, I never look at any of the you know any of the drawing of the
Hmm.
story. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
kind of imagine this is what's gonna be. Like Akira's like, give me something. Oh, this is a horror game. It's like a
Mhm.
Biohazard, Resident Evil type of video game. It's really,
Yeah.
really dark and it's really, horrific. And he would just give me the bits and pieces. So I kind of figure, okay, I'll just write something that people don't know, kind of music. I said, well, for me, it's I wanted to bring the music that the kids never heard before on the
Mm.
radio,
All right.
Right.
and
Right.
I want to educate the people. There's so many different types of music out there besides that you hear on the radio, hip hop, R&B,
Right.
or gospel, or maybe a little bit of jazz and blues on the radio right now. I mean, it's right now it's two types of music, or two or three types of hip hop, rock, and country, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
oversaturated. Maybe like I'll say about 80% is hip hop, right now in America, and
Right.
the rest of it's like you really don't get to hear any of the ethnic music, you
Right.
know.
Right. That makes
So for
sense.
me, it's like I want to bring something not the mainstream for
Yeah.
and there is a really good music out there, and I think that people should know about it. And so
Yeah.
what I want to do is to create the music that people never heard of before, and that's kind of thing like I think Hideo and the Konami company understood is like a totally different from the mainstream, and just to give them a different flavor of the music that people
Yeah.
never heard before. And I think
Absolutely.
that the fans like that because it's
Oh yeah.
not that you could get on the radio, and
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like you never heard my music on the radio. But
No,
although
exactly.
I have been kind of hearing my music lately in the different types of places all over, so it's
Yeah.
kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No,
Totally
yeah,
agree.
fans love your soundtrack. That's one of
Absolutely.
the highlights of Metal Gear. People want to play Metal Gear just to listen to the tracks because they're so freaking good. So we definitely appreciate your work on them.
Oh,
So,
thank you so much.
you're welcome. So my first question for you, Rika, is what is in terms of Metal Gear, speaking just specifically about the game of Metal Gear, what were some of the bigger obstacles for you as a composer that you had to overcome working on the first game?
Well, like I said, I never look at the script. I never seen the drawing. I never seen anything. So for me, it's like
Yeah.
maybe I saw one sketch the Shinkawa-san drew,
Hmm.
and but I had no idea how this video game is gonna be because I had no idea, and nobody knew.
Right.
That was the first
Really, no
time.
games like either to kind of draw inspiration from. There really wasn't any kind of stealth games out at that time. So for you going in and making something blindly, you think that was the biggest obstacle for you?
I think the biggest obstacle was to understand Hideo's mind because he's different
That's always a
than any
struggle.
other director, and he doesn't really give me specific ideas. He just say, make me something, like for the best is it come was like make me a song that I never heard the language before, like
Right.
other than English, French, Spanish, let's say Portuguese or and Germans,
Hmm.
and so he kind of like a list of all the language. That's about everything, Russians or whatever. He's like, I don't want to recognize the language.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sure.
okay. So I said,
Interesting.
how about how
Irish?
about Gaelic, Irish Gaelic?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
what's Gaelic? That's old traditional English. He's like, okay, so let me educate you guys. So I went back with the hundreds of Irish recording, Irish music,
Mhm.
and we just sat there in the meeting room and listened to every one of them. And
Oh,
Oh,
he's
wow.
like,
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
think I like it. I think I really like the sound, and I think I like it because I don't recognize these words. And, I just let him hear the traditional Irish music,
Mhm.
folk music,
Oh, wow.
all Irish traditional music,
Mm.
like a standard jazz standards, because Irish Gaelic music is just like those music passed on for generation to generation. They don't really, so it was kind of like an innovative for Irish
Yeah.
singer. The singer I hired, she lived in this place that they all speak Gaelic,
Mm.
Mhm.
and she had to drive like 6 hours from I can't remember the name of the place, but she drove to Dublin 6 hours, and she never done anything like that. She never gone to the studio and sang anything other than traditional music
Mm.
because the only thing she did was just sing traditional music.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so she was not a studio singer. She's not like a studio musician the way you could
Sure.
go, here's music, you sing. It's not like that. So for
Sure.
her to really sing other than her own original music, I mean the traditional music, it was the first time for her. So it took a long time for me to really get her understand what I really needed for her to
Mhm.
sing. Because like I said, and she's not a fast reader either. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to sit there and teach her,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Wow.
had a
See.
course, choir. Then the first when I went in, then remind you, I wrote this songs in English, and I had to translate into Gaelic. So and when I translated, and I kind of fit the words with the melody with another translator,
yeah.
and she spoke
Just a second there,
Okay,
guys.
I think we lost
English,
her. Oh, there we
and
go.
she
Okay.
understood the old traditional Gaelic. Hello, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
we're
you
still.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Hello,
yeah. We're
hello,
good.
hello, hello.
Yeah.
Are you
Hello.
there? Okay.
Testing.
Yeah,
Yep.
because he's like, I lost her. I lost her. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
when I translate the lyrics from English to Gaelic, I realized I didn't have enough music. I
Mm-hmm.
needed C-section. So I had to go and find the instrument so I could write for the next day. I had to
Oh,
fit the
wow.
words and the melody, and I had to come up with a new melody in like half a day. I went into town. I walked around. I found this Irish music store, and the only thing I could find was like Irish drums and a recorder. So I ended up buying the recorder. There's no keyboard, nothing. So I ended up buying the recorder, and luckily I know how to play recorder. So I went back to the hotel room with the pen and pencil and the paper and the recorder, and I wrote the C section, the
Wow.
music, a different melody, and I actually had to rewrite the melody too because it didn't fit with the words and the
Oh,
flow and everything,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had. Yeah, I mean, it's like when I went to the island, I had to rewrite everything pretty
Mm-hmm.
much with the
Wow.
melody and words, and I had to
so
cut down some of the words because it didn't fit, and I had to and I just had to rewrite everything with the recorder.
that's
Mm-hmm.
and so
Wow.
Sheesh.
the best is yet to come is probably one of the hardest songs composed in Metal Gear. So, with that said, thank you, Rika, for that answer. By
Yeah.
the
That's
way,
awesome.
and Young, it's your
Yeah,
question.
speaking of the best is yet to come, I know you talked about how you hired the singer and how the language came about, but what was the inspiration for the melody? Like, why did you go for something soft? When you think of stealth, you think of dun, 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 dun. You don't think of this beautiful
Because I didn't,
voice, in the
yeah,
intro
because I,
scene. So, what was the
right.
inspiration behind that?
I wanted to bring when we decided to do it within the Gaelic language.
Mm-hmm.
it had to be kind of traditional flavor music
Mm-hmm.
because those Irish, music is traditional music. So I wanted to bring traditional Irish music, and I want to bring Gaelic, not the Gaelic, the Gregorian chant from
Mm-hmm.
back in the days in the
Ah,
14th
Wow.
century, like a church music, Kyrie chant.
Yeah.
And before this is before Bach. This is like original music what the
Wow.
church used to sing. And
Yeah.
see, I'm a music major, so I go deep in the
Right.
history of the
Right.
music.
makes sense.
So
That makes
most
sense.
people don't know. I do have a degree in music. Not that I use it, or I don't know if it helps to get the job. I don't think so, but I don't think I ever used any of my,
Mm-hmm.
school training in after school. But I kind of understood what he wanted. It's totally different from what he actually. He's really vague. Hideo gives the idea, and he's very like an artist. So
Mm-hmm.
he really I think and plus he's not a really musician, so he really doesn't know how to communicate in the music term.
Right.
So
Right.
I have to kind of figure it out. Okay,
Sure.
he wants
Sure.
something different, the ambient, nothing real is, action type of music, and he wants
Wow.
something more, So I
Mellow.
kind of had, yeah, I kind of had to kind of I don't know, read his mind. So I think over 20 years, I think I became very, very good psychologist.
Wow. You can be Kojima's therapist should he ever
There
need
you
one.
go.
Right? Oh yeah, right.
We need somebody to dissect his brain. We know who to contact for that one.
What about works such as Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday, Don't Be Afraid, and Snake Eater in particular? That is one of my favorite songs just ever, period. And I don't know. I don't know. When I look at Snake Eater and who's credited, I don't see your name often in that. What part do you play in Snake Eater?
I produce and
Hmm.
I arrange music.
Arrange the
I
music.
produce. Well, I produced meanings like I took Hibino's music
Mm.
melody. It wasn't anything like that at all. And Hideo came to me. It's like I really do. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to help my staff writer to to have their music to go to another level. And I hate to ask you this, but would you please kindly
Hmm.
fix and arrange everything? And I want it to sound like James Bond music, and I know you
Right.
could do it.
Oh
So when
man.
Hibino had the music, it didn't sound like James Bond at all. It was something like a melody, and
Okay.
that's it.
Right.
So I took his melody and I arranged everything to sound like James Bond. I hired the horn section, I hired the orchestra, I hired the singer, and I want to try to make it like a James Bond.
Right. Wow.
And he liked this. He's like he liked the old James Bond music.
Hmm.
So he did like really into the music too. So he researched and
Yeah.
he knows every composers in the film and what era is a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
type of composer and all that stuff. So he's like, no, I want the old James
Yeah.
Bond
Right.
music.
Vintage.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
right, not now. So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, so I took Hibino's music, the melody, and I create the whole vibe and whole entire music. So you could say
Wow.
like I was almost like a ghostwriter, for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the loop. So you could see that I programmed the loop. I don't think anybody could hear, but I have like 4 or 5 stack of the program, the drum tracks, on top of the orchestra.
Hmm.
So that's I work on the programming
Hmm.
to rearranging the orchestra and arranging his music where sound like
Hmm.
James Bond music.
Wow.
So that's what I
It's pretty
did.
cool.
So,
Awesome.
you know,
Yeah, that's crazy. I
so
think
That's pretty cool.
a lot of people don't know
yeah,
just how much of an influence you've had on Snake Eater. I think a
Yes.
lot of people know you for the best is yet to come, but you played a big role in making Snake Eater sound the way it does right now.
right,
James
yeah.
Bond and wow.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely something
And
I can
also like
appreciate.
just the music, as you could see the whole tone. I set the tone of 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole entire music that you could see. It's like it's same. It's really the best quality of the music because I hired all my friends. Like I said, I had the recording, a contract with the record company, so I knew
Mhm.
everybody, and I started this business when I was 16, so I know all the top,
Mhm.
musicians who are playing Grammy and who has a Grammy,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's like all the musician that you hear in the Metal Gear Solid is all the top studio musician in the world. Okay,
It's very cool.
Wow.
It's very
That's
cool.
really
so
that's really
it's like
cool.
that's why you get that sound,
Hmm.
And right now I don't know, it's a Metal Gear Solid 5. I
Hmm.
wasn't really involved with the production, but although I found out though, I'm actually involved with the publishing side, and I'm actually having my music. I think they re-recorded my
Yep.
two of my songs, and they're coming out
Yeah.
with a
Donna Burke. Hmm.
soundtrack. And then, yeah, then she's actually sang my best is yet to
Yep.
come
Hmm.
in the English. I don't know. I particularly didn't really care for her arrangement because I had such a, my, I don't
Sure.
know,
Your vision, you
It's
know.
my,
your
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my
It's
emotions at that time and
Sure.
how everybody, and we had no idea what's gonna be. It's like we had no idea. We were like walking in the dark with a little bit,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. That's
Sure.
kind of
Sure.
thing.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah.
it's like,
Makes sense.
the hell we doing? So it's that state of mind, and it kind of create the best is yet to
I
come. And
see.
it's just like and also the Hideo was not really that big at that time. His the company wasn't big, so I was able to communicate with him, going out to the Irish pub, hang out with him, and going to New York, hang out with everybody on the cruise. You know what I mean? So it
Hmm.
was like more like a family.
Hmm.
One and two, then it blew up. So Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4 was just like it became like a more like a I didn't want anybody listening to this and misquote me again, and you know, he just kind of blew up, and it's like three became the company just
Sure. Sure.
everybody knew that game. That was
Sure.
Yeah.
that was the game. You know what I mean? And Hideo became iconic. He
Sure.
become
Sure.
an icon for the
Oh
video
yeah.
game world. So it's like it
Absolutely.
was kind of hard for me to communicate with him after first two, and then he started having a producer. So I had to talk to his producer, his assistant, his secretary.
I
It's
see.
like, dude, seriously, how am I gonna supposed to understand Hideo's mind? That I
Sure.
had to listen to his idea, what he wants me
Right.
to do for the
Hmm.
music, and it got somehow it got lost in
Right.
translation.
All
You know
these
what I mean?
Yeah.
proxies, instead of Kojima himself.
One becomes
Right.
100.
Yeah.
So I had to talk to two, three, four, five people who was involved in the sound design team, but they weren't Hideo, so I wasn't sure
Gotcha.
what he really
Right.
wanted. And he
So
got too busy. He couldn't get involved with making the music. So he let other people handle it, but other people is not Hideo. So every time I write music, I had to write like 10 times because that wasn't what he meant. So
Sure.
at the
Yeah.
end of it, at the 10, so he said then he'll finally come out. I told him I really need to talk to Hideo because I really don't understand. If I talk to him in 2 seconds, I get it. But
Right.
if I
Right.
talk to other people, they misunderstood him, or they don't understand his vision, they don't
Hmm.
understand his feeling or emotions, nothing. So if I talk to Hideo, even though he
Gotcha.
doesn't, he just tell me one word, I understand. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Right.
So to
yeah,
everyone out there, let Rika communicate with Hideo. She's his therapist. So
She
let her do her
understands
work.
So
him.
about
we're running a little short on time, so
Yep.
we'll need to speed up the questions here a little bit. Ronan, it's your turn. Your next question, buddy.
Absolutely. So I know you kind of talked a bit about what inspirations you drew for music for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. But Metal Gear Solid 4, I know there was a bit of a theme of a Middle Eastern theme, at least for one of the locations in the game, for example. So, can you talk a little bit about what sort of inspiration you drew from, when helping to compose music for situations like that?
Yeah, 4 was
okay,
completely different in terms of music.
Hideo asked me. I want again. He got so into the first one was so successful with the best is yet to come and the Gaelic. Now he's like, I want to do it in the Hebrew. I'm like, what? Okay, that means and not just a regular Hebrew. He's like old traditional. I'm like, okay. So again, he's like again, same thing. The Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. So again, he wanted me to rewrite his staff composer,
Mhm.
Nobuko
Okay.
Toda, right?
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
So she wrote the music. It wasn't nothing like that you hear and that composition soundtrack. Like I said, everything is like, my input is like 99%, because I produce music, I hired everybody, and
Yeah.
I actually find the singer, and she didn't, she doesn't sing in Hebrew, but I found a singer in New York. So we went to New York, and because I know I could get I could get the singer who could do this. So I
Right.
had to travel to New York, and I got the half Metropolitan Orchestra, half of New York Philharmonic Orchestra. Those
Jeez.
are the people I put it together for this particular session.
That sounds awesome.
Then, and for the singer, I was actually in New York for 2 weeks prior to this session, and he still
Oh.
doesn't even know. Nobody knows. I was there 2 weeks prior to, and I work on the singer every day because she didn't sound nothing like that. She doesn't
Wow.
understand the Hebrew either, so I had to
Oh
rewrite
wow.
everything syllable. Okay,
Oh wow.
and
Jeez.
yeah,
Jesus.
so then she's not an opera singer, so I had to train her, but she's a great vocalist, and
Hmm.
she is a vocal coach, so could really pick up real fast. So
Right.
whatever I want her to sing, she understood. So
Wow.
every day we get together, and we go to studio. I'll play the music, and I'll just play with her, and we rehearse before the session.
Oh
So
wow.
nobody knew what I did get this.
Well, we know now.
Yeah,
World
seriously, that's
exclusive.
incredible.
So I've got a quick filler
So like
question.
I said,
I got a quick filler
yeah.
question before we switch over to y'all because we're really short on time. Talking about from Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid 4, all of the music together. Each track is usually about 3 to 5 minutes, except for like the best is yet to come, which is like 6 or 8. How many hours of music do you think you put together over all of the games?
I did them all.
Now,
Jeez.
about how many hours do you think of music
Oh
did
my
you
God.
compose for the series?
Understand. 22 hours a day, 365, 24/7. Okay. I did not have a date. I didn't have a Christmas day. I didn't have a Christmas Eve. I didn't have a New Year's Eve. Okay.
Oof.
I was
Jesus.
working 24/7. And if he would call me, and you could tell he could call me 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the studio. I'm up. Because he would call me, can you change this right now? And he would call me like at noontime, for him, it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. He hears it in the morning. It's like, oh, I don't like it. Can you change? He would just call, pick up the phone, and say,
Oh
hey,
man.
Rika. He tell
Wow.
his producer, hey, try to get hold of Rika. So that's like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's like, wow, you're always up. No, I'm not up, but I'm up now. So then I have to go to studio. I had to go to
I
studio and then
see.
rewrite again, or rewrite the song that he wants, and
Hmm.
mix the song that he wants,
Hmm.
and that's what I had
Gotcha.
to do. So I didn't have, even though you only hear the one track, the final composition
Mhm.
of the each cue, but I spent hours to get him approval. It's like it's insane. He never said okay in one take. Okay, one, we
Right.
submit, and he's like, can you do it again? Like
Right.
what way? I don't know, but different, like that.
Jeez.
Right. I felt
Different.
like I needed to ask because we talk to voice actors. That's who we mainly talk to on the show. And they tell us, they come in, they do the recording session, maybe a day, 2 days, some of the bigger roles, a couple days. But for me, like the music, it just seems like something that maybe once it was done, it was done. But to hear, it took all of this time and you do multiple takes and multiple sessions. I think that's kind of eye opening on how different the music side of things is to voice acting. But
Voice actor is totally different because they run by the studio
dude,
scale, in a union scale. So you go in and you get it done in like 3 hours,
Hmm.
and you go in the union scale. So they cannot go over. If they go over, they have to pay, scale, whatever the,
Yeah.
scale their promises. That's
Right.
on the unit scale. The musicians, same thing too. In the 3 hours orchestra, I could only record 45 minutes recording time and 15 minutes break and 45 minutes and 15 minutes. And then you could only record within 3 hours. You could only record three
Hmm.
songs, but mostly maybe two songs that
Hmm.
you can only record. That's
Sure.
it.
Gotcha.
You know.
Cool.
great. Yeah, y'all go ahead.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about your past, but I want to shift topics to the future. So what's next for
Okay.
Rika Muranaka? I know you've told me a lot about that you got a lot of upcoming work. You're attending a lot of conventions here and there. So tell the folks where they can find you, what they can expect from you next.
Okay, today I'm going to be so like. In fact, I'm gonna have to catch a flight right now, so I'm gonna head to the airport right now. I'm going to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's called Salt Lake Gaming Con,
Hmm.
Yep.
and it's going to be held in Tower Expo and the Salt Lake City, and I'm gonna be there. Today is a press day. I'm gonna
Okay.
be doing a press conference today, and tomorrow to 6 to 8, I'm going to be at Salt Lake Gaming Com. I'll be doing a panel with. I just found out yesterday. I'm doing two panels. One is a panel with some other developer people in the industry. So it's like a more like a small room,
Sure.
uh, and just the industry talk, I guess. And I'll be doing a panel discussion with the other maybe developer or creator.
Hmm.
And Saturday they put me on a special guest, and nobody know that I'm going to be at the guest, but I'm going to be doing a question Q&A on Saturday, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Hmm.
So if anybody's there, please come and stop by and to hear me. Maybe something I can't talk on the air. Maybe I might talk
Hmm.
on the Q&A.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a lie, but please don't quote me anything, and please don't
Yeah,
quote
right.
this
No,
kind
no,
of
no
people.
more articles.
Seriously.
Yes, no more article, please. Oh my god, I just cannot believe you guys. Like, oh my god. I mean, I got a
Yeah.
contact from Konami. Like they
Yeah.
were like surprised. It just kind of blew up,
Yeah,
and then
we couldn't believe it either. We were just
Yeah.
talking, and then we start seeing these articles. I'm like, wait, where did this come from? And then they took it
Right.
from Reddit, and then they made an article about the Reddit post instead of coming to us. And yeah, I don't know, it was a whole thing. But
At the end of our show about the show that I did with you earlier, so it wasn't even like from the original.
Right. Like the source material at all. None of that. Yeah.
yeah,
None of that came from that.
So
I know. But it's like it's kind of weird what's going on right now. Past couple of days, and Nikkei journalist
oh yeah,
blew up. I don't know if it's I we triggered that article.
I
I'm
don't
not
think so.
sure.
I
No.
hope not.
I don't. I mean, I feel like I'm responsible right now. I think Konami is in vacation, so I'm not hearing from them. I think they took
Yeah.
the vacation or something. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. So even though I do Q&A, there's something the touchy subject I cannot discuss. I cannot
Right.
reveal anybody. So don't expect me to say anything when they
Right.
come to the convention.
Hmm.
Because like, oh, she's gonna talk about it. No, maybe, but I can't really get into details.
Sure.
Exactly.
I know a lot of things, but I can't really talk about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's a
of course.
confidential.
We
Yeah.
don't
Of
want to.
course.
We want to
Totally
focus on
understandable.
this. This interview is focused on you. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
sad
Exactly.
stuff.
at your convention, they'll want to talk to you and not really about drama and stuff like that. That's the
Right.
big thing that we want to
So
focus on.
yeah, I said
Uh,
earlier this convention because I wanted to meet fans and I wanted to know what really,
Exactly.
really think about my music, or do I ever even have a fans? But I guess I,
so
I know that I do have a follower now.
No, a lot of people were excited for this interview, so you definitely
Absolutely.
have fans. It's just
There-
people just don't know where to find you. It's just you.
Right.
I guess you've kind of been off the radar a bit, so we're gonna help you get up back on the radar. So
Exactly.
that's why we're
so
doing these
real
interviews.
Yeah. Thank you
quick,
so much.
guys, we
And you've
got
got quite an audience here right now listening to this as we speak. So absolutely, you definitely got fans out there for sure.
Right.
we
So this is what I'm doing. I'm actually creating a reality show called Hollywood Dream. This is the show is about making your dream come true. Like us, we're doing talent audition right now. Everywhere I go, every con I go, I'm doing a talent audition, scouting best singer, hottest rapper. Then I want to, whoever wins is gonna get the major record deal. Then we're going to push them
oh
and make them
Wow.
into stars. And that's the
Okay.
kind of so I'm actually doing following me. People gonna be following me around in the Comic Con.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted to do this so I could have somebody follow me around. This is the life of Rika. Going to the Comic Con, signing
Sure.
autograph, and and then
Absolutely.
finding the stars. The next, like American Idol meets like a real world. So they're gonna come and
Hmm.
live with me and my partner. He actually have a Grammy.
Hmm.
He's like a producer for LL Cool J and Tupac,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and wait, let me. Right now, I think he's gonna be going. We are going to be going on a hip hop radio station everywhere we go because he's very influential in that time of the hip hop ever born because he was a part of the Def Jam, the first from the get go. He produced LL Cool J. He grew up with the LL like a 20 seconds away from his house or his LL's house.
Jeez.
So you know what I mean. That's the history. He could tell you about how it was born. Hold on a second.
Wow.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Yo, hello.
Good. My name's Damien E. Love Matthias. What's your name, sir?
I'm Daly. This is Yong and Ronan.
Yam Yong.
How's it going? Ronan,
Good
how's it
morning,
going, buddy?
guys. How are you? Things good.
Doing great. So, what do you do? Who are you?
Let me give you a little bit of my background. My name is E. Love. I grew up with LL Cool J in St. Albans, Queens, New York. Around 1985, we were kids. We just put together a demo, tried to shop it around to major labels. Nobody would give us a deal. A friend of mine suggested that we send a copy of our cassette into a guy who was a DJ at NYU. So we mailed the CD in. His name was Rick. He called us back about 4 weeks later. He wanted to meet with us and his partner, Russell. So he said, hey, man, I really like the guy's demo. I'm going to put you guys out first. I'm going to try to get some money and start my label. The name of my label is called Def Jam. You guys will be the first artist that we release.
Very cool.
Nice.
So that was I Need a Beat back in 85.
Right.
That led up to our radio. LL Cool J's first CD. That was our platinum release. Our radio was also on the soundtrack of a movie called Crush Groove that also released around 85, 86. That was a Warner Brothers release where Blair Underwood played Russell about the early days of Def Jam. I don't know if you guys saw it, but you should definitely take a look at it. It's a Warner Brothers release called Crush Groove.
You might have heard of it.
Yeah.
Blair Underwood, Run DMC, Curtis Blow.
Ah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
still in addition in the Fat Boys.
Okay.
So I got a question. How do you go from that kind of stuff to working with? Are you working with Rika?
Of course, it's a lot of things that happen along the way in between that.
The short version, because we're running out of time.
Like I went from producing music to doing the marketing for Def Jam labels, where we did the street team. We did the college radio program where we took artists across the country, got them on college radio. Then we started doing all of the videos. We started shooting the videos because I'm also a director. So me and my partner directed a lot of the videos, the early stuff with Def Jam, like a Gangster Party. We did that. We did I'm Bad with LL Cool J. The list goes on. Then I just did my share commercials. Then from Levi, the Gateway, BCBG, stuff like that. Then I met up with Rika. Then I was like, wow, this is interesting, video game. Cause I've always watched games. I never really played games because in high school, I was a baseball player in high school. I was All-American in baseball in New York City. And I watched the guys play games, but I never really got involved with playing. I always just watched, like, oh, okay, that's cool. I played a little bit of Pac-Man, but that's as far as the game.
Very cool, man.
That's
So
awesome.
I think that's a cool little story. So are you traveling right now with Rika to this
Yeah,
convention?
we're about to go to Utah, check out Utah. I haven't been out to Utah in a couple of years, but Utah is actually one of the places where we actually had some great shows, and it was a great situation out there numerous times. I'm looking forward to get back out there to Utah and check out Salt Lake City GameCon, meet the people out there, and do some interviews. And we're shooting that reality show Hollywood Con right now, and looking forward to meeting the fans.
Sounds
I think
great.
that's awesome, man.
Sounds awesome.
We definitely appreciate your time. We've got a couple of community questions to close up with Rika.
Sure. Pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool, man.
Yes, sir. Peace.
That was awesome.
That was really awesome.
Thank you.
So
So he's traveling with me, and we're doing a reality show. So he's doing part of reality show with me. Life of Us, and going to the Comic-Con, and that's gonna be a TV. And I'm also making. I don't know how, but I'm determined to make a drift game.
yes.
Okay, I started to follow the original Drift King who taught Paul Walker and introduced the drifting in the world.
Yeah.
And
Tokyo
I
Drift,
actually
right.
know him. Yeah, Tokyo Drift, and I actually know the guy who invented drifting.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
That's I want to make a drifting game,
That sounds
online,
awesome.
really cool.
and so there's not a whole lot of good drifting game out there.
Right,
It's a
right.
Namco has it, but it's like a Gran Turismo maybe. But
Mm.
I want to have like a option for the user to modify their own car, like a GTR Skyliner, and then you could kind of like okay, you could put the GTR's engine to other car, and let me just switch it up. What I mean, so like a person could really get into it and like a professional. This guy creates and modify the car. So I have a really good top-notch engineer in Japan who modify all the
Oh,
drift
wow.
cars. So I want to
That's very
get
cool.
him involved. Yeah, and he's a top racer too. A driver in Japan. He's a F1 Formula racer
Mm.
and
Very
a
cool.
drift driver. And I got whole entire Hollywood dream drift team. Okay, so I want to bring them in America, and I
Wow.
want to have a competition with the American drift, drivers like Ken Block or somebody like that.
Yeah,
You
that
gotta get
sounds
the
And so
awesome.
Tokyo Drift theme in there. Are you gonna get the rights to that?
right,
Yeah.
that's
I
what
wonder if
that's
you
what I
know
want.
how they live in
Right,
Tokyo.
Oh my god.
Best theme
right.
ever.
Yeah, but do you know those all the drifting that they shot was a real shot, and that wasn't anything like they accept they went to the place where they do drifting. That's what they do,
Yeah.
underground. There wasn't like a studio created a scene. They actually do that. And
Mm.
Hakone, like toge, what we call Hakone pipe, they just go down there and people just compete in drifting.
Wow, that's
Very
really
That's
cool.
that's a real shot, and Hollywood did not create that. That's so it was raw because the first one, as you noticed, they didn't have a whole budget. It was independent, so they only had the independent money, and it just like took off. And now it's like they spend like more than $200 million to make that. That's just like huge. So I wanted to create the Hollywood dream video game and the Hollywood dream like a drift game, and I wanted to launch artists with the label and do the closing line, and I want to do the TV. So I'm doing like a real
Wow.
360
Yeah,
with the
That
TV.
sounds
I would,
you got your hand in a little bit
fantastic,
of
man.
everything. Yeah.
Seriously.
music, games, clothes, like TV shows.
So, yeah, I'm on them all.
That's
So that's
Wow.
what I had the vision with the Konami for. I've been talking to Hideo about how to promote music, and you can't just do a game either. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but nobody understood my vision. So now everything was said done, and I don't think I ever gonna make any more music for the. I hope not, but I would like to make music for a video game and Konami in the future. But I don't know anybody, any director besides Hideo.
yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
in the Konami, if I'm working with the Hideo, people don't talk to me. They're like, "Oh, you're working with the Hideo, like a god." So I can't go and talk to any other people. And the same thing in the industry. I think people are afraid to hire me because I'm working with Hideo or something. Oh, you taking Hideo's artist or something like that. That's how the mentality in Japanese people are. So they never
Ah,
really. I never got to work with any other Japanese, and I couldn't. I would stay loyal because I felt like okay, if I work with Hideo, I cannot go work with other people. It was like a trust and the unspoken contract that we had, kind of.
Mm.
And I felt like I was really, really loyal to Hideo and the company because I felt like okay, I'm with the Konami, and I'm just gonna stay here and have a long term relationship with the company. So
right.
because I want to build a really, really good game
Sure.
for them, and I wanted to do my best, and I don't think I could have done the music, and I mean I couldn't put 100% if I was working for other company. So I felt like okay, I just stay with this one company. The record company is different. I just work with the other record company.
Sure.
Even though I was working the music for the video game, I still work with the record company. They didn't care. Recording
Yeah.
industry is much, open. I mean, they're more like they're not really like exclusive type of, club. Like a video game. Video game is like they don't want you to talk to other people. But you
Yeah.
get to be friends with other people. So they, you had to sign NDA and all that stuff not to talk about what you're working on it.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
that sounds like a bunch of great projects going on. I know you have to get going soon, but I know Young has got a couple community
Yeah.
questions for you. Ronan, before we get to Young, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, like she pretty much answered just about all the questions I had as we were going through this interview. So feel
Right.
free to take it away to community
All right.
questions. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask some quick fire questions that you can answer quickly from the community. Well, there are a couple more that I'm gonna ask. These shouldn't take too long to answer. Are you a gamer at all? Have you played any Metal Gear games?
I did, but I suck. I couldn't. I have the freaking elevator, the first one. And I told Hideo, it's like, how did it go down? It's like I didn't see any button. Like, what? I went back and I pushed the button. I would go, we step forward. The snake, like a man, it's like snake would go backwards. I said, I can't do it. I tried to go forward. All he does is go circle.
Yeah,
And
I know what you mean. Yeah.
like
Made it to
because
10 fingers.
first I didn't know which button to push. It's going circle. That Snake would stand there at the elevator. He keep going forward. He keep going forward, backwards, and he start going. Just go around the circle. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I can't get this the figure to move forward or do anything. So I told Hideo, I can't do this. I just can't listen to my music where you use my music. So can you make the videos of what you did?
Oh,
So
okay.
that's what he did. Oh, this is how I use your music in this scene. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how it went. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can go
So-
watch on YouTube how your work was used, and they were used brilliantly.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
now,
Yeah.
have you played 2, 3, or 4, or just one?
I tried, like I said, every one of them, and I
Okay.
said, no, that's not for me. The
Okay,
Mary-
gotcha.
But
Sure.
just watch
I played like a really, really simple game, like that you could download for free.
Sure.
I did a lot of mobile app. That's why I came up with the idea of doing like a drift game because there is not a mobile app that I know like
Gotcha.
I could really get into.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make a create.
Gotcha. Yeah, sure. So I'm just gonna shoot off a few more questions. Who's your favorite Metal Gear character?
Well, everybody says Snake, but I think Ocelot.
Ocelot.
Nice.
I think that a lot of time I go to these cons, I see a lot of women dress up like this. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Interesting.
kind of sexy to have a woman dress, in their costume.
Okay, I see. Very cool. Who are some musicians that inspire you personally?
I've had so many: Miles Davis, John Coltrane, to Charlie Parker, all the jazz musicians.
Gotcha.
But I love Tupac. Now everybody's talking about Straight Outta Compton, and my partner's been hip hop, all his life,
Right.
and he witnessed the NWA breakout because they were the first one to go on because they were on tour with. They were the new artists, and nobody knew who NWA and
Right.
LL was like a big then, so like they hired them to be in the front
Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
before the LL Cool J's coming out. So like yeah, so that's how they got famous. They were going on tour with LL, and they'll rap about I can't really say that the one song, and they were getting arrested by police every night because the police told them if you rap that song about the police, we're gonna arrest you, and that's what they did. And every night they go on tour, they'll say they said like whatever they say like forget it, we're just gonna rap it, and they talk about the police. And the police would come on the stage and they will arrest them every freaking night.
Wow.
And that's what happened. So that's
Interesting.
how the NWA broke out because the press coverage they got from the arresting another 5 people on the stage right off the bat. So that's what happened.
Gotcha. Andre Vila Franca from YouTube asks, which Metal Gear song are you personally most attached to?
I think the best is yet to come because I had that was my first song, first work. I worked with Hideo, and Hideo is not like a record artist, recording artist, and I never worked with I work with all the record companies and advertising companies, so I never had a chance to work with any video game director, and that was my first. Well, it was.
Sure.
I can't say first one because I did work with the Silent Hill and Cat, but they were normal people. You know what I mean? Akira is normal, and
Right.
the other, I never met the director of the Castlevania. They just told me to write the song, and I wrote the song, and they loved it. I never saw the people who
Right.
actually made the Castlevania Symphony.
Mm.
You know,
Gotcha.
so Hideo was the first one. I kind of thought, I was like, wow, he is I hate to say it, but he's a geek,
No, it's
It's
true.
very true. He's a proud geek.
Exactly.
Myuuji from YouTube asks, I don't know what this means. This is musical terms. Do you have a favorite key or scale, and how do you decide to pick which for each song? Whatever that means to you.
Okay, yes. I picked the scale, the key, based on the singer. The singer have a different range, a different key. So, for instance, the Color White for "Don't Be," for "Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday," that music particularly was wrote with it in the six notes: C, D, E, F, G, A. Only six notes. I had the octave and a half before, and she didn't have that range. She couldn't hit the high E, high D, none of that. So I had to rearrange the music where she could sing within the six notes, not even an octave. So that was kind of interesting to work
Mm-hmm.
with a singer who can't hit, all those notes. And I had to rewrite the song. I had to write the song based on the singer. That's what I had to do. It's not that I have the favorite keys.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite keys would probably be E flat for keyboard player. It's easy. There's a lot of stanzas based on the E flat.
Okay, well, I hope that answers your question, Myuuji. I have no idea what any of that meant, but it sounded very interesting. Mintorment from YouTube asks, apart from yourself, who's your favorite composer in Metal Gear?
Uh, I think Tappy, the guy who wrote the Metal Gear Solid theme. He's a drummer
Oh, okay,
percussionist.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's no longer there at the Konami. I think he wrote the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I think he used to have a band, and he kind of got a job because I don't know, he maybe he wanted to take a break. Then he got a job at the Konami and then wrote the song. Then he quit. So I guess he went back to the musician.
Gotcha,
you know?
gotcha.
Ah,
Cool.
gotcha.
Lalo Landa from Facebook. Are you friends with Nobuo Uematsu?
That's funny that you asked because I know his manager. I did some recording when his manager got recruited by Nobuo, and then he told me he's gonna go and work with Nobuo.
Oh.
That was like 9 years ago, and
Oh, wow.
I worked. Yeah, so I was thinking about contacting his manager because I really want to do a concert together with him.
Wow.
Final
Mhm.
Fantasy,
cool.
Metal Gear Solid music,
Oof.
orchestra, and I
Man.
want to actually collaborate with him on new songs. I don't know any company wants to hire us to do the new music. Me and Nobuo, okay? Somebody out there listening, you know what I mean? Hire us, okay? I
Oh,
have a
man.
lot of ideas. I want to do a concert tour with him. That's my
Sounds-
idea that I want to do, and maybe it will happen because I know the girl contacted me last year about doing a concert with him, separate night with Nobuo in Italy. So it might happen,
Wow.
but even though it didn't happen that way, but I think I want to actually approach him and contact him, and I want to do some kind of collaboration with him, and do a concert tour with him, and maybe I could produce that.
Wow, how cool would that
Sounds
be? Nobuo
awesome.
Uematsu x Rika Muranaka concert.
Yeah.
Man, I would go to that. Danny
Absolutely.
Sangha from Twitter asks, this is the final question, by the way. What were some of your favorite moments working on Metal Gear? So just in terms of just moments that you experienced work in the work environment, what were some of your favorite moments as you worked with Metal Gear?
Well, like I said, I worked with Konami for almost 20 years, and company grew so big, and everything changed. And it wasn't like a small production company anymore. So for me, I always remember the time uh, I went out with Hideo and Muraoka-san at the Irish pub in Roppongi, just drinking, talking about what the world's gonna be. Then we're gonna make the best game ever. That kind of we was just the kids. Still
Right.
young. We had no idea this Metal Gear is gonna take off like that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we had the full dreams, and we were talking about dreams. Oh wow, this is gonna be great. This is before I went to record in the island, and we all went out, and it's like, okay, you're gonna go Dublin, tomorrow. I wish you the best, and I can't wait to hear your music. And that was like kind
Aw.
of, to me, it's like I always remember that. I cherish that moment because that was like a really, really fun, and we had no idea. We didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about anything. Just the creative side. We were just
Wow.
talking. How are we gonna make this thing happen? Is it
Right.
gonna ever gonna? What's it gonna be? We have no idea that PlayStation is gonna take off like that either, or gaming industry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like full of dream and full of unknown, like territory, So it was exciting for us, and it was exciting for me to get involved with something new. And I felt it at that time. This is gonna take off, and I just felt in my bones like, wow, this industry is gonna take off like crazy.
Yeah.
And I told the record company about that, but nobody knew then.
Gotcha. That is very cool. Thank you for that answer. And that pretty much concludes all of the questions that we have for you. Daly, are you there?
I think we lost it.
I'm here. I got a
Host.
no. I'm here. I got an emergency. Somebody just tried to carjack my girlfriend. So
Oh,
Oh.
if
wow.
Oh no.
if you guys could handle the interview real quick, I think we're gonna call the police real quick, and then I'll
All right.
come back.
Sure.
All right. That's fine. That's
All right.
fine.
Before we conclude, do you want to make this announcement? Because we were talking about possibly collaborating on releasing some exclusive content. Would you like to tell people about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I worked with Fidel for many years, and like I said, he doesn't say yes to all the songs I've written. So I'm thinking I have a lot of songs I've written for Hideo that he said no. So I'm gonna stop. Unreleased and got rejected by Kojima. I have a lot of songs. I think maybe it's still good.
Yeah.
Maybe I could let fans hear it
Mhm.
every time we do interview. That might be really cool. And
Yep.
maybe they could tell me, hey, that's a good song. How come we didn't get to hear that? And the medical,
Right. So there you
Maybe
have
I
it,
need to make-
folks. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So basically, what's going to happen is Rika and Daly and I and Ronan and everyone here, we're collaborating on releasing some rejected or unreleased, Metal Gear songs
Yes.
that were, presented to Kojima and maybe he said no. Or so we're going to release those and we're going to talk about how we're going to do that over the coming days, and we will
Yes.
keep you guys updated. But it's going to be some exclusive cool new content from Rika Muranaka, and it's going to be awesome. And while we do that, we're also going to promote her work and some of the stuff she's involved in. So it's going to be a really good exchange here. It's going to be a really good relationship, and we're going to partner up for a lot of things. So we're going to keep in
Absolutely.
touch for a long time here. So thank you, Rika, for
Stay tuned,
Please
guys.
tell everybody to come to Salt Lake Gaming.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Salt Lake Gaming.
yeah.
Okay.
Salt Lake-
All
yeah,
right,
I'll
awesome.
promote it on my social media as well.
Me
Remind
too.
people.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Tell them to come and check me out on the booth and Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A. It's going to be great.
Okay.
All right.
Q&A.
Sounds good.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, Rika.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Hey,
All
sorry
right.
about that, guys. Thank you.
No, it's totally fine.
Scott,
I-
man, live drama here at
I
the
know
Codec.
this is a
Man.
hell of an episode of the Codec today.
Yeah,
Oof.
But is everything okay though? In all
Yeah,
Yeah,
seriousness?
seriously.
I guess some guy tried to get in her car. She said she's got a nice cut on her hand and she's got some bruising already. And I guess he pulled her hair and she just got her
Oh.
hair done, so she's upset.
Jeez.
Not to undermine the situation.
Right, right.
Yeah, definitely that was crazy. I actually ignored the call twice because we're doing a show. I don't need to. But
Yeah,
she called a third time, so I just wanted to mute myself, pick up, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she's bawling her eyes out.
Right.
Oh, now I feel like a dick.
Oh man, wait,
Hey,
wait,
the
she
good
was
thing is
there
that you
while the
answered.
carjack was happening? Like it
It happened
wasn't
to her.
Oh,
Like he attacked her basically.
Yes, he
oh my
attacked her.
god. Oh,
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess she was at a stoplight and he asked her for money and she said no. And he reached through the car and tried to yank her
dude.
through the car and then tried to get in the car. And yeah, she's very upset. She's coming back now, so she's okay.
Well, my best wishes to her. I
Yeah.
hope she's
Yeah,
okay.
she's okay. She's just startled. She said she drove off. She kind of ran the red light and
Yeah.
drove off. But she was really upset. So again, I apologize for
No,
that.
I mean,
but,
please.
No worries. No
Yeah.
worries.
So let's do a quick little post show. The interview went a little over schedule, but I think that was cool. We got some cool information. We learned about a possible upcoming TV show.
Yeah, yeah.
We got a possible drift game. Obviously, she's doing this convention in Salt Lake. So if you're in the Salt Lake area, I know there's a couple hundred people watching right now. If you're in the Salt Lake area, go check her out. It'll be very cool.
Absolutely.
But I think Young hit the nail on the head for this interview. There's a lot of stuff that she does that people just don't know about. They don't
Right.
they don't get to hear about it. They don't get to see about it, and she's not credited very often in the stuff. And when she is credited, it does. Excuse me. It's like a general title rather than she worked on this and this and that and that. So I think that's really cool for her to finally get on here and kind of explain what she does and clarify things and all that kind of stuff. So very, very cool and fun interview. One of two this week that we're going to be bringing to you guys. So Young, your thoughts on this interview?
Before I say my thoughts, I'm getting feedback from somebody. Oh wait, now it's okay. It's gone.
It's gone. Okay, cool.
I don't know what happened, but the interview was very insightful. Rika had just so much to share, and it was kind of cool. I just kind of forgot about the questions for a moment and just kind of listened, and it was like she was reciting a novel, Hideo Kojima the novel or something, The Adventures of Rika and Kojima, whatever you want to call it. No, but a lot of really cool insight, and like you said, Daly, I don't think people realize just how big of an influence she had in the Metal Gear music, and I think we should definitely spread that message because, like Snake Eater, she might not have been the composer per se, but she took the work that was already there and she just made it 10 times better. She made it into that James Bond feel that Kojima was looking for, and that's what made Snake Eater so iconic. Okay. Stuff like that. She played sort of a behind-the-scenes role in so many aspects of Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4's compositions, and it's unfortunate that not a lot of people know about that. So hopefully now you know. It's but a lot of cool stories, a lot of great insight, a real plot twist at the end with the other guest coming on.
Right?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere, but I'm like, let's roll with it. That was very cool. But excellent interview overall. Again, we keep having awesome interviews, and that's great. So.
Absolutely.
That's what we do here. Ronan, your thoughts on the interview?
Yeah, she brought a lot of fantastic information and insight about what was going on behind the scenes for the first Metal Gear Solid. Even talking about the other games she worked on with Konami, like Silent Hill and Castlevania, for example, I thought that was fantastic as well. I did, the fact that she's not quite sure what's next for her in terms of video games kind of makes me sad because I feel like she deserves a lot more a spotlight in terms of her ability to compose great music for video games. And hopefully somebody listening to this does take note and actually, gets in contact with her.
Yeah.
Especially about that in the near future, and especially hearing her talk about this collaboration that she's hoping to do with Nobuo Uematsu at some point in the future just sounds fantastic, and I would love to see whatever comes out of that. I wish I could go see it if it ever does happen, but if not, I would like to be able to see whatever comes out from that. Yeah. Absolutely. She was kind of, the amount of information she was given, she was kind of burning through my questions in the list.
Yeah, I know, same here.
I don't know what to ask.
I think a lot
question
of
one, who are you? She answers a whole freaking list, and I'm just like, wow, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of our fans will appreciate this interview because, believe it or not, I actually get contacted quite a bit on like Facebook and Twitter. A lot of our fans are actually they do some music. A good, I think, like 5 or 6 of them are actually into like making music and stuff like that. Cool. So I think they'll appreciate this. And you got the cool little music question there. Where she's talking about
I was like, that sounds very cool, but I have no idea what you're saying.
That brought me back, man. I actually play guitar, and that brought me back to my days when I.
No, that's cool, man.
Used to be.
So really you can read a little music?
Yeah, I can read.
Good. So you kind of understood what she was saying then.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
It was very, very cool. It's obviously
it sounded foreign to me when she was talking. I'm just like,
it sounded like she knew her shit, but I had no freaking idea what was happening.
Right, I'm sure she feels the same way when we talk about video games.
So that's what it feels like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the interview itself was great, but let's talk about we got Gamescom this week.
It's happening right now, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Saw a new trailer for Metal Gear come out. You guys want to give some first impressions on the trailer?
Yeah, it's clearly not a Hideo Kojima trailer, but I still liked it. It had new footage in it. And it presented some gameplay stuff. It presented this ginormous freaking villa that you can infiltrate.
Yes.
Dude, it is so freaking big. I think it's all seamless. It is all seamless.
They flashed it for like half a second.
Yeah. They showed like a couple of times for like half a second. And it's so freaking big. I'm so happy about that because I I love interior infiltration as much as exterior, and it's something that a lot of fans I think miss, and I think that's a great example of how that'll return, and I think there's more where that came from. So I'm just so happy to see that, and a few cool new little tidbits on story towards the end. We see new scenes from Skullface. There's one scene where Big Boss he's holding Skullface's gun and he's pointing it at someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't show who, but I think that might be Skullface. I think maybe they subdued him at some point, and maybe they're getting ready to take their revenge with his own gun or something. I don't know what's happening, but a lot of cool little scenes like that, and just a good combination of gameplay and story. And I think that was the whole point. It wasn't to make a Hideo Kojima trailer,
Right.
Although I do miss those, but they just they spoil too much. There's always meanings behind meanings, and when you dive into them, you kind of start getting an idea of things. And I don't, this one is, this one's very straightforward. You see what you get, and I like that. That way you don't get too many spoilers prior to Phantom Pain, which comes out in less than a month now. And no, but I liked the trailer, and I got an analysis coming up soon, probably by tomorrow. It's pretty straightforward. So.
Nice.
Awesome.
Ronan, your thoughts on the new trailer, man?
Yeah, I thought outside of it, of course, not being directed and cinematically scripted by Hideo himself, I thought it was a fantastic trailer for them to show. I mean, granted, I said before that I'd really prefer them to show perhaps other footage. Of course, we found out recently that Metal Gear Online was delayed on consoles and PC, so I guess that explains why we haven't seen anything yet. But no, I thought it was a fantastic trailer. I really was excited to see that little villa they had there and how expansive it was, because it gives me so many ideas of how many different ways I can infiltrate, bases and stuff like that I really want to experiment with when it comes to playing this game. And I think it's fantastic. Plus, they showed off the little bits and pieces of the mysterious fiery figure that looks an awful lot like Volgan. Yeah, it's just like
I'm pretty sure that's Volgan.
Yeah, pretty sure setting dudes on fire, which I thought was fucking awesome.
Oh,
But there's a lot of cool shit in that trailer, which I really enjoyed.
Very cool. Yeah, I actually peeped it just before Rika came on when I was talking to you guys. I had it playing on my phone. I saw some cool stuff. I saw an African location that looked very open. I thought that was really cool looking. I loved, obviously, the more urban infiltration, just like you guys. But I also love that challenge of sneaking across a field. I don't know. There's just something about that. There's a couple of games that have that in there, but sneaking across a place that has nowhere to hide is really cool.
I
love that kind of thing. But I really hope they do have a little bit of this urban infiltration as well. And I say urban because it doesn't necessarily have to be like a full-fledged village or a big town or anything like that. But I've been playing a lot of Splinter Cell because I'm doing a review for a game, and Splinter Cell's got some tight-knit like corridors and weaving, and I'm like, I want to play this, but in Metal Gear.
Right.
Splinter Cell, right? But yeah, I think with what I saw from the trailer, now I'm a little less skeptical about maybe what they'll bring. As I saw some varied locations. It wasn't just barren desert, and it wasn't just overpopulated, tree. Saw some different locations. Has kind of eased my tension on that a little bit.
Dude, my favorite shot though is when Quiet shoots the guy in the head in the fucking jet. I'm like, that sells the game right there. I mean, if you don't buy the game just based off of that, go see a therapist, because there's something wrong with you.
Definitely. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. We got to hear some more Code Talker. He spoke quite a bit more than he normally does. We got to hear a little bit of Troy Baker, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and speaking of Code Talker, we get to see the candles light up as Big Boss is some weird juju shit. It's so I guess there is some supernatural elements to him that we don't know about yet. He can light candles without touching them. That's a power that seems useful, I guess. But
you got them from Walmart.
Yeah.
So. No
trick candles.
Exactly. I think that trailer showed off a lot of things that kind of, like I said, kind of eased tension on some of the things that I was concerned about. But to switch topics real quick, again, Metal Gear Online delayed. Thoughts on that, Young?
I wasn't too surprised, to be honest. It sounded like it was heading that way. But honestly, I'm not too disappointed or worried, because the single player is so freaking big by itself. And honestly, I wouldn't touch Metal Gear Online for like a month. I would just spend that month just on the single player anyway. So for me, it's like a win-win. That way people don't get ahead of me, in online. I can
Right.
be there when it launches. So I think it works. GTA did something similar and it worked just fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's ready by the time it launches and it's not broken. That's what I think that's what everyone cares about. And if they need to delay the game to make that happen, go for it. No Arkham
They
Knight
just
PC,
delayed
please.
that part of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Ronan, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm totally okay with it. I feel like it was probably the right move for them than to sit there and release a buggy nightmare like Jan compared Grand Theft Auto, for example, which when that launched, the online was a total nightmare, and it got to a point where people stopped caring about it after a while. So I'd rather not see that happen to Metal Gear Online. I'd rather prefer them to delay it to make sure that everything functions properly,
Now,
which I thought was a great move for them. Now, granted,
Yeah.
we heard about the console versions of the online being in October.
so
Yeah.
PC version of that was pushed to January.
That's what's keeping me from buying the PC version. I really want to
Exactly.
play Metal Gear Online.
I can't catch a break. can't catch a break. I think I made a video on my channel, kind of just giving people a news update on that as well. But I think what's going to be okay is, at least from my impressions, that we'll still get the mother base stuff because I believe that's going to come
Yeah,
bundled
FOB,
with
yeah.
the single
That's
player.
going to be there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to not have that there. So at least we'll have some kind of aspect for multiplayer, even on PC. After you guys get it, we'll still have something that we can do multiplayer related. But honestly, with MGO coming to the PC players haven't had it before, so I don't think they're all up in arms about not getting it
Right.
in
Yeah.
October. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Definitely interested to see what the cause of the delay is, because you get that delayed and you get the PC release pushed up,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I'm curious of what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe they just sunk more development time into single player, which I can definitely appreciate.
Absolutely.
But I think it might be something. It kind of works out for them because, well, first of all, they haven't advertised Metal Gear Online all that much, so I feel like they have to delay it anyway, so they can at least get some time to advertise the feature.
Yeah.
And also, how that works is that if you have these two separate things and you release Phantom Pain by itself, then you start promoting Metal Gear Online, and the game sort of doesn't lose traction. It gains. You can re-hype the game through
Right.
this new mode that's coming out, and that way the sales might be a little more steady as it moves through time. And so I think in that way it works out for them, for Konami, and for Kojima. So hopefully it'll help boost the sales. Hopefully they'll advertise it and promote it properly leading into October, because it looks like a great feature, but they just haven't shown enough of it.
You definitely want to keep people talking about your game long after it's released, and I think that would be a fantastic strategy to make sure that they continue to do that for sure.
Very cool. All right, so one last topic that we'll talk about before we leave. I got a fan message on Facebook, and it was one of the first ones that we got. So I told him, for being the first person to message us on the Facebook page, we'll talk about his message. So before I get to it, let me get his name just so we're all proper here. It's basically just a quick little fan kind of theory, and we don't have to talk too much into it, but I'd like to just kind of discuss it a little bit. And it comes from Facebook user the Cyber Athlete, and he's put up his own theory that maybe all this talk of language and all of this talk of unifying the world of language actually has to deal with the first kind of iteration or induction of nanomachines. It makes the point that when you have these nanomachines in you can't say things like patriots or whatever you have to say, the lale, lule, lo, and this and that. So do you guys think that maybe this virus, this kind of plague that's kind of spreading around, could have something to do with maybe like a bad version of these nanomachines, which is why we have these weird kind of these first iteration of super soldiers, the skulls? Maybe they have some kind of weird buggy nanomachines that didn't go right, and now they can't speak at all, and they've got these weird powers. Or do you guys think these are two separate things, and we're not going to see nanomachines yet, son?
Jeez.
You have to add the sun there. Well, thing is, I don't know does the Metal Gear lore detail when the nanomachines first came about? Because the first generation came about around Shadow Moses time. That's the first generation. Now maybe there are prototypes that we don't know about, but 1984 is like really far back compared when you see Shadow Moses takes place in the Shadow Moses incident. That was 2005,
Right.
and that's a lot of years. That's like 20 years ago. So I don't know if nanomachines would have been invented in 1984. But then again, this is Metal Gear. Technology doesn't really
Right.
follow the flow of time.
Hydroid.
Yeah, but it's just but there's some stuff that's been made canon, like there's a first generation, second generation, and third generation nanomachine. And third generation nanomachines is what I think prevents people from saying stuff like Patriots. They have to say Lali Lulelo instead. I think that's the third generation. And the first one, I think that was Naomi who was involved in all that. And so there's all this other stuff, but it's possible because there's always the possibility that Hideo Kojima will come up with, there were these prototype nanomachines that nobody knew about and whatever. So it's certainly possible, but it's just, I think there's such a big time gap that it's for me personally, it's doubtful, but it's not impossible.
But the fan theory is he draws this based off obviously assumptions and knowing the games, but he also based it off of in the last trailer that we had when you hear Zero come on and he says, "I've found a way." That's what he detailed in this explanation. Is he believes that way that Zero is speaking about how uniting the world has to do with nanomachines, whether it's starting the program or something along those lines. So cool to hear your thoughts on it, though. Definitely, whether you agree or disagree. I personally, I'm on the same, but I think it's a little too early for that. But that's just, that's not to say there couldn't be something similar to nanomachines that just had, it's like a very primitive, basic type of nanomachines, and maybe it's not actually called nanomachines. That maybe they experimented with Earth. So
it's
that's
possible. I mean, I'm sure the idea is there. Maybe I'm sure Zero has a lot of plans that maybe he can't implement. Sure. Stuff like the Patriots AI. I'm sure maybe he's thinking once the digital age catches up, I'll implement this system. I'm sure he has ideas, but it's a matter of whether he can implement them in 1984. But it's just hard to follow the technology timeline because it's so inconsistent in Metal Gear. You got these giant fucking mechs, and then the radio cassette players are like the basic, 1984 era. It's inconsistent, so it's possible.
Yeah, you got a cassette player, and then you've got an iDroid.
And then the iDroid
that projects.
That projects. Like we can't even do that now, and we got that in 1984 apparently.
Well, you gotta get the HoloLens, right?
There we go.
HoloLens. So, Rowan, what are your thoughts on?
It's all about that Google Glass, but honestly, I feel like there could be a possibility behind that theory. I mean, granted, we look at the future of what happened with nanomachines. For example, I'm going to use Vamp as a case scenario for this, where his ability he wasn't immortal, but the nanomachines in his body were keeping him alive all the time.
So quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like this could be a case of them trying to experiment with stuff like that, at least. It could be the nanomachines. It could be something completely different. But it would definitely make sense that they would have the ability to do things like that, considering how much they evolved over time and the things they wanted to, or the way the Patriots used them to manipulate speech and stuff like that. I will say that in some cases where it may not necessarily make sense in the story, the fact that Hideo himself said that he was willing to somewhat break the series' story consistency to tell the story of the Phantom Pain. Yeah, so it could be the case of that as well, but I'm kind of curious to see what they do to explain stuff like that when the game does come out.
There is a slight possibility just because of the fact that they really haven't delved into the history of nanomachines in the Metal Gear lore. I mean, we first see them in the Shadow Moses incident. That's when we first see them, but we don't really know when they were first established, when these nanomachines started being implemented in things. So in that sense, there's certainly a possibility. But it's 20 years we're talking about. So it's a big gap. So if there are nanomachines, I mean, they must be really, really primitive. That's all I'll say. Because similar to the Codec, you see Snake Eater codec, it's very primitive. It's this giant device, right? And then eventually they become microscopic. You just kind of put something in your ear or something.
Exactly.
So there's stuff like that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely follow you, and it is weird because then you have like the first iteration of nanomachines is like you said in the Shadow Moses incident, but you also got to think like just like I guess a couple of years before that, according to the story lore, you've got Gray Fox who was transferred into a cyborg ninja.
Right.
So like it seems like maybe some people have different technology than others. Maybe Big Boss, can only afford the stuff from Walmart as where Zero's shopping at Best Buy. So it could be that case of what you have access to. But I think it's a cool theory nonetheless. Whether it's true or false, it definitely gets the brains turning on maybe when and if we'll see nanomachines in this game. So with that, I would like to wrap up this show. It's been a good one. It's been a fun one. Rika can talk, man. I love her stories. She can just go on, and I feel like if I didn't kind of like jump in there a couple times, we might have, rolled over to the 2 hour
She would have answered all of the questions, I guarantee you.
Yes.
Just in one swell, just scoop. I don't know. But
I was losing it. I'm just like, she's going through all my questions. I don't know what to ask anymore.
Very cool lady. So we've got some cool stuff planned with her. I don't want to announce anything right now. Just stay tuned on Young Yaz channel, my channel, and the Codec here. To kind of check out some of the things we have working with Rika, and I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we talked a bit about it.
Yes.
With when you were taking your emergency call, we told the audience a bit about that. We have some exclusive Metal Gear music that maybe were rejected or just not used by Kojima himself. So we'll be talking over the next few days about how we plan to release them.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated.
So keep track on everybody. You've got Corrupt Ronin here on Hitbox. It's hitbox.tv/Corrupt Ronin. I didn't do the www for you.
It's about time, man. We're evolving. We're evolving as time goes on. It's fine.
Second generation daily.
Yep, there you go. He's moving up.
Obviously, you can check all this stuff on Young Yaz channel, which is listed right here. It's youtube.com. Do you need the user anymore? I know you said you don't need the C.
Yeah. I fixed it. Yeah. It's just youtube.com/Yongya.
There you go. youtube.com/Yongya to check that out. But it's time to say goodbye, Ronan.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was really fantastic to have Rika here talking about all the fantastic inside information she had behind her music and the Metal Gear franchise as a whole. But as always, you guys can find me on my Hitbox channel. As Daly said, hitbox.tv/CorruptRonin. At some point, I'll probably start uploading these interviews as well to my channel on YouTube as well. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. Of course, I will have a stream today before people start asking. There will be a stream today. Don't worry. I promise there will be a stream today. But as always, guys, you all have a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are in the world. You all stay classy, stay sharp. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I'll see you guys next time.
There's the intro I'm used to. The outro that I'm used to. What are you playing before I say goodbye?
I might, because I plan on doing the Metal Gear Solid Marathon towards the middle of this month. So we're playing through all those games, leading all the way up until the Phantom Pain, of course. So right now I'm just kind of playing through a bit of older games, like Darksiders 2, for example. So I'll be continuing that today.
Very cool. All right, well, that is it for me also, guys. I'm definitely excited to see you guys at the end of the week on Friday when we talk to Guy Seehee. It's going to be a fun little interview speaking with the man behind Silent Hill 2 and kind of figuring out what happened with the remake and all of that kind of stuff. So hope to see you guys there. That's this Friday. We'll give a time in our announcement video, which I should have out today. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I appreciate you guys standing by throughout the interview where I had some of these technical things to take care of. So thank you guys. Make sure you follow the channel if you're not already to be alerted when we go live. Check us out on Twitter. It's @the_Codec. And you can check us out on Facebook as well. It's @the_Codec. On Facebook, it may come up as like a TV show. I think that's where I put it under. So follow us there to also be alerted when we go live. And make sure you check out my two amazing co-hosts throughout the week. Yong.
Thank you for tuning in, folks. Again, awesome interview. Just amazing job to you two. And Daly, once again, I hope everything works out with your girlfriend. I hope she's fine because that.
Seriously.
I didn't. Wow, that was completely.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I just hope she's fine. Just stay tuned because I mean the days leading up to Metal Gear, it's It's going to be busy for me. There's going to be a lot of content coming your way, so just stay tuned. It's going to be great. And stay tuned on the countdown. I'm going to talk about all the retrospective. You just look back and walk down memory lane to really give you guys an idea for how many teasers and how big this development cycle is. And but with that, I will see you guys next time. Young out.